What's up everyone, it's a Knife Side here and welcome to the time of year when all the knife YouTubers are waiting for companies to release new knives at SHOT Show, and so we just result to doing top 10 videos. Today I'm going to be doing my most carried knives and most carried and used knives of 2021, and it's actually not a top 10, it's just about like 9-ish knives I think, and so yeah, I just didn't really, there wasn't another one that I thought of that I carried a significant amount like I've carried these knives. But yeah, I'm just going to be going through them, talking about what I use them for. And yeah, hopefully this is a fun video. But the knife I got here is not one of my most carried knives. It's just my newest knife. It's the PM2, the Crew Rare, the version with full metal liners, and my Carta. I like it so far, so we'll see how it goes. But before I get into the knives, I want to show my most carried like accessories, and that would be this Surefire EDC L1T. I got this back in February, I think, and it has been in my pocket more than any one of the knives that is going to be on the list. This is really the only nice flashlight I have. I have this Olight, but that's not very nice. I don't really use it. And yeah, I really like this, made in America. It has served me well. I honestly don't use a flashlight as much as I use a knife, but it has come in handy a couple of times, and I've just gotten used to carrying it in my left pocket. And so I've really enjoyed this Surefire, and it's really been a good flashlight, and I plan on using it and carrying it for a long period of time. I don't really have any interest in getting another one. So yeah, most carried flashlight right there. Also my watch, I got this G-Shock. This is the 2100. They call it the Cassie Oak, and I really like it because it's very thin. It's small on the wrist, and I do think this all black version looks cool. I actually like it so much I recently got a new version. It's a little bit more out there of a color, like this blue and white, but I think that it looks good. I probably would I'm going to wear the black one more and only wear this if it kind of looks right. But overall, G-Shocks are really cool. If they get dirty, just rinse them over the sink pretty much and dry them with a paper towel, and they're good to go. And yeah, really no complaints. I am a big fan of G-Shocks. They're nice and cheap, about $100 for both of these watches. So yeah, I enjoy them, and I plan on getting more in the future, and they fit me more as a person. Like these nice fancy watches like Tudors and Rolexes and not Seikos, Omegas. I'm not much of a watch guy, so I apologize. They're just not very, they don't really fit what I do, just the fancy watches. But G-Shocks, they're cool and they're cheap, they're durable. Can't really ask for much more out of them. Now let's get to the knives. So first one that I'm going to go over is actually my most recent knife that I got, and it's been my last two videos on this pair of three. This is the DLT Trading exclusive with a Crew Rare blade and purple handles, and I've probably carried this for the last month and a half, like my only knife that I've really carried, and I've really enjoyed it. I've used this knife a lot, putting a couple edges on it, and I've really enjoyed using Crew Rare. It's probably been one of my favorite steels to use. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it is really good, super fun to sharpen, strops back very well, and I can tell I am a big fan of Crew Rare. It's really what inspired me to buy this PM2 here. But yeah, I really like this knife. The pair 3 is a great size. I got a pair 3 lightweight a couple years ago, and before I even got a regular pair 3, and I just always kept putting it back. But yeah, pair 3 is a great knife. Really, this is one that I haven't really been wanting any more out of it, and I've really enjoyed using it over the past couple of months. And I don't know if I said this, these are in no particular order, this list. I'm not doing least carried to most carried just because I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know, probably carried this knife about a month. This one I didn't carry as much, but I used it a lot around the house, and I was like, I don't really feel like doing a 10 out of like least to greatest list, so I just kind of did kind of all over the place, whatever I wanted to. This next one is another Spyderco. It's the Gale Bradley II. I assume if people watch my channel, they expected this one to be on the list. This is a great knife in general, probably my favorite from Spyderco. I really like it. It's got an M4 blade with a thin hollow grind on it. It's just very nice to use. This is a knife that if I'm ever like, you know, I just want a knife that's fun to cut with, I will grab the Gale Bradley II. Super thin, does a great job. Ergonomics are good. Really enjoy this knife. No, it's not very fun to play with. It's not the flashiest thing in the world, but it is a great tool, really gets the job done, and I'm a big fan of the GB2. Next on is a knife that I got at Blade Show this year. This is the American Blade Works Model 1 V5 or V6, one of the two. I kind of forget. I think it's the V6. But yeah, it's been a knife that I've carried a lot. Really have enjoyed it. It's pretty simple. There isn't really that much fancy about it, but it's made in America for like that around that $200 price range, which is very good. It's got a 20 CV blade, which the heat treat on this isn't as good as I like it to be, but that's kind of something that you see with 20 CV. I've put a lot of edges on this, and I mean, it's sharp right now, it's thin behind the edge. The ergonomics are pretty good. Overall, this is a solid knife, and I really have enjoyed using it. I'm excited to see what is next to come with this company. I think that there aren't many other companies out there making made in America knives for this cheap. So yeah, that's really what I like to see with companies. That's why I bought this knife in the first place. Let's move on. I guess I have a ton of Spydercos on this list, so sorry about that. It's just the company that I follow a lot right now. But here's the Military. This is the knife that I don't carry all the time, but I do use a lot. It's my main go-to knife if I'm going to do yard work outside, and it really does a good job, and it's just a great user knife. It is very big, but honestly in the pocket, it's only like 4 something ounces, and so it doesn't really feel like a big old titanium frame lock in the pocket, so that's nice. S30V, great steel, really no complaints with it. This sharpening choil is that I put in here. I really like that. It makes sharpening a lot easier. The tip has held up for being a hard use knife. A lot of people get scared that you'll break the tip off if you hard use it. I have hard used this. Now I haven't pried up a piece of wood using only the tip because I don't think that's very smart. But yeah, I'm not really delicate with this knife, and it has performed well. The liner lock's awesome, one of the best liner locks out there. Just very good with the tang on here as it's rounded. A lot of people don't like the tip down carry. It doesn't bother me. Overall, the Military is just a great knife, and I see why it's been around so long. And this is actually a factory second Military, which is crazy to think that I picked up this knife for like 70 bucks. And there are some flaws like visual defects, and the detent is overly strong on this. But you know, I don't really care. It works. It's a great tool. Spyderco Military, awesome knife. Let's go to an Emerson. This is the Emerson A100. It was my first Emerson that I picked up. I haven't picked up another, but I've carried it. I carried it a decent amount, probably about a month, and I used it a bunch, and I liked it. The more I have it, honestly, after my review, I probably carried it for a month to get my thoughts on it and then review it. And honestly, after that, I haven't really carried it. It's just pretty thick behind the edge. The chisel grind, I don't mind the chisel grind. It's really just the edge geometry. It's thick behind the edge. It's got a very short grind on it, so it just doesn't cut that well. And that's honestly why I haven't been carrying it that much. The steel, it's been fine. 154 cm doesn't bother me. The G10 is very grippy. The ergonomics are very good on this. And they're just super simple, which makes them really comfortable, and you can hold it any way that you'd like. It is kind of extra grippy with this jimping all over. I don't think that's very necessary. But this knife, I like it. I plan on keeping it. It's just, it doesn't cut that well, and that's why I haven't carried it much than I already have. There isn't as much lock stick anymore. But I mean, it took a lot of breaking in to get it like that. So I know a bunch of people hate lock stick, so I bet they would really dislike it because it was bad lock stick. But I have broken it in, so that is good. Overall, I might do a dedicated update video to this. I'm not really sure. But I have liked the knife. It's very simple, but still, I don't know. It's one of those knives that after this year, after maybe in a couple of months, is it going to be one that I pick up to carry out of the choice of all of my other knives? Probably not, but it still is a cool knife. I still like Ernest Emerson, so I bet I'll just keep it around. But on to the next knife. Let's go with the Manix II. This is the Manix II Lightweight. Picked this up at the start of the year, and I really like the Manix line. I have a G10 one as well. I'd probably say I like the G10 one more. Just it feels more quality, full metal liners, just feels a little bit smoother and better. But this still is a very functional knife. Works great. The ergonomics are solid on this. Spy 27 steel, really cool steel. I like it. It's not the best edge retention in the world, but I like how it strops, like how it sharpens. It's really just fun to use. The Manix is also a great knife to sharpen. I don't know what it is, but like the blade shape, I just really enjoy sharpening it. It carries good. This knife's very light, and you can do everything that I need to do with it. And I'm just a big fan of the Manix in general. I could see myself getting another version of the Manix just if I like maybe the steel that it's using or the color that it's using. But yeah, Manix II lightweight, great knife. And then the next one, this isn't a knife that I carry as much, but it's a knife that I use all the time. It's the Sasquatch from Alex Steingraber, and this is a fixed blade, as you can tell. And that's probably the reason I don't carry it as much, just because the way I carry a fixed blade, I'm still trying to figure it out. My go-to carry right now, the most easy way for me to carry it, is just dropping the whole thing in my pocket. Like just in the sheath like that. Clipping it on my belt, I can't do that because for work I have to have my shirt tucked in, and so you'd be seeing a knife the whole time. Clipping it with this ulti clip onto my pocket, it just kind of hangs out. I still haven't figured it out with that. So right now I'm just dropping it in the pocket, and that works well for me. My only problem is I can get it out like that and use it in the pocket, but getting it back in, I usually have to get my other hand out, take the sheath out, put it back in, and then go back in the pocket. It's a lot easier for me to just pull out a pocket knife, open it, use it, and then put it back into my pocket like that. But I use this knife, the reason it's on the list is because I use it all the time around the house. It's my go-to knife when I need to get a lot of cutting done. Sometimes if you get a big package, there's a lot of cardboard to go with it, and so you need a good knife or a nice thin knife to cut it up. And this M4 at the HRC that it's at, very good, really fun to sharpen, really nice to use. M4 is one of my favorite steels, and having it pretty much maxed out on its potential is really enjoyable. And I also like this thick handle on here. It makes it nice to do powerful cuts like this. Overall, just a great knife to use. Just fixed blades for me. I know some people love to carry them, but I'm just still trying to figure it out. But I'm perfectly fine. This knife, I already have a bunch of pocket knives that I can carry, so I'm completely fine to just have a home use knife that I use a lot. So yeah, overall, really like this Steingraber Shark. The last one on the list, I got the Spidey Chef next. I think I have one more after this. The Spidey Chef, it's a knife that I kind of like. I would say I like it. It's not my favorite Spyderco, but I have carried it a good amount, and it is a good build quality, good lockup on this. The frame lock is good. It is very thin, as you can see, and so that's not the most comfortable thing. It just doesn't feel like I'm holding on to much. This blade shape, it's not my favorite. It might be good in the kitchen, but my biggest problem with the Spidey Chef is I don't think it would be that good of a kitchen knife. I don't think that it's going to beat a paring knife, or it maybe could replace a paring knife, but it's like 20 thousandths behind the edge. It's pretty small, and I think some people get this and think that it's going to like replace a kitchen knife just because it's rust proof, but I don't know. It doesn't really, it's not that good of a kitchen knife, and some of the design changes that are made to make it more beneficial as a kitchen knife hinder its ability as a carry knife, and so that's one thing I don't like about it. But overall, it is a good knife. It's well built. It's just not my favorite when it comes to carrying and using to like cut up cardboard or something. LC200N, it's a good steel. I like it. I don't like sharpening it as much as something like S30V, but it is cool that it's rust proof. But that's another thing for me. I don't really care if a knife is rust proof or not. I mean, my K390 Stretch, I really haven't had any issues with the rust, except like I got like it wet right there. So there's that little smudge of a spot. But I mean, this is one of the easiest steels to have rust on you, from what a lot of people say. But for me, I just don't have issues with rust, so I just don't care about it that much. But the Spidey Chef, I have carried it a good amount. I've actually tried to sell this knife, but I can't sell it. I guess I wouldn't want to buy it either, probably, just because you can buy it new. So that just means they got to drop the price, but I really haven't been eager to sell it because it still is a pretty good knife. But yeah, on to the last one, which is the Stretch that I just pulled out to show for my example. Spyderco Stretch and K390. I've really liked this knife, really enjoyed using it. It's grown to become one of my favorite Spydercos. It's extremely comfortable in the hand. The ergonomics are great. I like the blade shape, just a simple drop point. It's using K390 steel, which is why I bought this. And this steel, it's awesome. It's probably the best when it comes to edge retention that I own. Sharpening, it's also really good to sharpen, really easy, and just comes up with a really nice edge. I don't know why I said edge like that, but it's very easy to sharpen, really enjoyable to use. Some people might worry about rust, but I've just maybe seen some light patinaing on this, and so I got no issues with it. And it's really just, my favorite steels are between K390 and Crewwear. I love using Crewwear and sharpening it, so I don't know. K390 is also really good to use and sharpen though. So K390 is probably a better steel than Crewwear, but I love them both. Really awesome to use. The Stretch is a great platform that I think just gets overlooked a lot because all they have is like one in VG10 and ZDP. And it's also very weird looking, especially with the like old blade shape or without the straight spine blade shape. But this is just a simple knife. I mean, it just works. It's a great cutter. I think this is like 15 thousandths behind the edge, which is better than your average Spyderco. So I really like the Stretch. It's been a fun knife to carry, and that is why I've carried it a lot. And it's one of those knives that I always like to put in my pocket again, even when I don't have to try and think about, oh, how am I going to review this knife? So that's all I got for the list of my most carried knives of 2021. Sorry if this video is kind of all over the place. I haven't been posting as much just because I haven't been buying as many knives as I usually do. You know, I found knives that I just like. I like to carry, I like to use, so I haven't really been eager to get more. I like made in America knives around that $200 mark that I'm willing to pay for. I like to try out new steels from Spyderco. And so yeah, that's just really what I'm interested in now. I'm not interested in like budget Chinese knives as much. I know a lot of people are, but that's just not my preference. So yeah, I haven't been posting as much just because I haven't been buying as many knives. I haven't had as many videos to make. But in the future, I'd like to do a comparison between this PM2 and this Stretch. I think that would be really good. I might wait to get more use on the PM2, even though the PM2 was my first Spyderco and I've used it for like years. So I could probably go ahead and do the video. But yeah, I'm excited to carry this. Hope you guys had a good year. Hopefully 2021 is a good year for you too. I don't really have much to say. Hope you had a Merry Christmas. This was actually my Christmas gift this year, so really happy about that. Really like this knife so far. And it just feels good. These full liners, a lot of people were suspicious about them, but it just feels better than a normal PM2. I don't really know how to describe it. It's almost like comparing a Manix to the Manix Lightweight. But yeah, that's all I got for today. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. In the comments, if you got most carried knives this year, I'd love to hear them. But that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.